उधर youth बैठा पंजाब च ट्रैक्टर शृंगार दा ठीक we're not going on the ring road we're going to go to the नाल दे पिंड when I come back obviously they're going to be upset
बंदे ਨੂੰ ਸੈਂਸਰ ਕਰਨਾ ਪੈਣਾ ਹੈ ਇਹ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਗਰਮ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ ਹਜੇ ਤਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਾ
Lucky Bronson the guy would have got his pants pulled down
yeah
look at how hard they made it just to get to the league. Why did they make it so easy to get into the league?
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ
ਫਤਿਹ. How's it going, guys?
ਵਧੀਆ ਭਰਾਵਾ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਕਲਾ. What are you guys saying?
Well, good, man.
I'm good, man.
Been a long day, but it's going.
What's the topic for today?
So it's the topic that everyone's been requesting, the highest rated topic, which is 26. So the events on the 26th, and
Republic Day.
the way I've suggested it is we break it down into 4 parts.
Okay.
So the events that led up to the 26th, the events of the day of the 26th, so Republic Day. What do you guys perceive as the outcomes that came out of the 26th?
Okay.
And how do you think people perceived it?
Acha, interesting. ठीक है. Let's do it.
Is that cool with you guys?
Yeah, man. Let's do it.
Just the intro, just in case it's the first time you're listening. So, it's Saffron Studios. Say hello, man.
Hello, man.
Carl. We got Land of Kasan.
say hello
Hello, it's me again.
that sounds creepy innit
I was doing that Adele song, innit?
वो की है?
I don't even know who that is
तेरे तू बाला ज़्यादा ही अपने आप जवाब समझ रहा है ਸਾਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਇਧਰ I'm presuming it's a guy
gayak yeah we listen to
Sardool man
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Adele da lagda
so and also we got Rocky Singo तू ही कह दे कुछ
ਸਤਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ
ਭੈਣ ਜੀ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ right so we got the introductions done ਕਈ ਲੋਕੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਚਿਰ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਆ ਅਸੀਂ intro is gonna be like half an hour they're gonna be like ਸਾਲਿਓ fucking get on with it ਚਲੋ
you we have to give a shout out to all the ਬੰਦੇ who gave feedback in it
ਬੰਦੇ
keep giving feedback guys
ਬੰਦੇ you guys are wicked with the feedback ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਦੇ ਦੋ ਲਫ਼ਜ਼ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ very good is very good ਜਨਾਨੀਆਂ ਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗ ਗਿਆ ਜਨਾਨੀਆਂ the ones who give the proper feedback they give the essays but ਬਹੁਤ ਮਿਹਰਬਾਨੀ ਆ because it's very constructive and it's we appreciate it.
Constructive feedback from the Bibia
yeah
and the boys say proper sick bro that was sick
well, very good
ਭਾਵੇਂ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣਾ ਆਪੇ ਹੀ ਦੇ ਰਿਵਿਊਜ਼ ਚਲੋ man let's get started
but the feedback's been helping us so keep it up please keep providing feedback.
All right ciao.
Let's kick it off then. So I guess for Saffron Studios it'll go to you first.
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਪੁੱਛੋ
The events that led up to the 26th. So should we take it from there or do you Rocky Singo?
I think Rocky Singo be better.
Wait, you've not done your research.
You're the one who called it. You said lads let's get it on today. तू बाहर चामड़े आया सीगा. You got your notes there ready. Can hear you shuffling your papers.
I have notes.
Yeah, you have.
That's Kenny.
Yeah, chal. कर दे Rocky Singh पे कर दे.
Chal फिर okay. So basically there was an announcement on the 4th of Jan by what's his name? Odoke. He announced on the stage, on the main SKM stage, he said there's going to be a tractor rally and half of these leaders are looking at each other like what the and the stage was set. So after that, a few days later, they started negotiating with the police for a route and everyone was saying ring road.
For people that don't know, can you explain who Odoke is? Because he's not one of the union leaders, isn't he?
So he's not a union leader, so he was part of the 20 Times. He wrote a controversial article, I think. Upset half the pant and upset half the leaders, and then they got rid of him. And he's not upset half the pant for that, but he's upset half the pant. Well, most of the pant, because he's anti-Dasam Grant.
Missionary banda, no?
He's a missionary banda.
Okay.
Yeah. So there is a bit of a bias as well.
Not from us. Yeah, obviously from us.
There's nothing wrong with
Yes, but yeah, so he set the stage. He announced the 26 rally. I think the date wasn't set at the time. He just said a tractor rally, and the date came a few weeks later or a few days later when they started negotiating with the police.
Okay.
And after that first, they were saying we were going to do the ring road. We know ring road was flirted as an idea, and all the youth got on board. Yeah, that's good. And then they started prepping their tractors. As a few more weeks went past, like I think it was the last week, I think we talked about it before as well.
Can I just bring it back a bit to the 4th again?
Mm-hmm.
So I believe on the 7th, Trolley Times asked for a map to be made.
I was going to leave that to Saffron.
Well, and then the 12th was a practice rally, which was very successful and massive.
Yeah.
So you're going.
So they started negotiating the ring road. But before that, on the 7th, there was a map. They tweeted out, I think they tweeted as well, and they wanted an Instagram story of, is there any map creators out there? And obviously no one responded. And we'll let Saffron tell the story about the map. And then a few days later, they did a practice run. You know, where there were tractors around the few borders. That was quite successful. There's a lot of foot posts, a lot of stories were shared on that. And then the politics started with Gurnaam Singh Chudoni when he was accused of taking 10 crore from that. Was it a journalist, I believe? And they obviously, the SKM law suspended him really quickly. And there was a bit of a counter, and he came up on an offensive. He's like, come on, prove it that I am to blame for this 10 crore that's gone missing, blah, blah, blah. And then they reinstated him. And I think this is where the first cut happened with the tractor rally.
Sorry,
अब बंदे ਨੂੰ ਸੈਂਸਰ ਕਰਨਾ ਪੈਣਾ ਹੈ ਇਹ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਗਰਮ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ ਹਜੇ ਤਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਕੰਮ
I'm thinking the whole podcast
ਜਦ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਿਹਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਥੋੜਾ ਇਮੋਸ਼ਨਲ ਹੋਣਾ ਇਹਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਨਹੀਂ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਹੋਣਾ ਪੈਣਾ ਹੈ
it's going to be beep.
They were negotiating with the police at that time, right? Okay. And obviously ring road, we want ring road. And the police were saying, oh, pendal hai call de utthe jao tusi hana. And Chudoni is a hard negotiator. We've seen his antics in Haryana and all the guerrilla warfare on the BJP there. And obviously they got rid of him in the main negotiations. So they came back with not what was promised. And uddar youth baitha Punjab tractor shangarda, theek. ਸਭ ਸਬੂਫਰ ਲੱਗਦੇ ਆ ਵਾਇਰਿੰਗ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ ਐਂਪ ਫਿੱਟ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਗਏ ਹੁਣ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਤੋਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ਗਏ ਹਨਾ ਦਿੱਲੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅੱਗੇ ਕਹਿ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਰਿੰਗ ਰੋਡ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਣਾ we're not going on the ring road we're going to go to the ਨਾਲ ਦੇ ਪਿੰਡ when we come back obviously they're going to be upset so then we go back now to the 7th right and this is where Saffron can take over this is the map stuff
yeah so they'd announced quite publicly that they were going to go and commence and march on the ring road, Delhi ring road, and there's a couple of ring roads for Delhi. There's an inner one and there's an outer one, and the one that they did on the 12th was I think it's called the Outer Expressway, the KMP, where they did the practice one. So that's actually outside the borders of Delhi, and so it was the Trolley Times who I remember asking for putting it out on social media for someone who could help them out with the maps. And it wasn't actually sure or apparent at that time what map they needed help with, because they did publish one regarding the Tikri border site as well, and so a point came when they published a proposed route for the tractor rally for Republic Day, and they marked it as the ring road, and that was the first that we actually saw from anyone visually, like where we were going to do this rally. At that point, nobody knew this. We only found out later on when we looked at that map. It wasn't a very accurate depiction of where the rally was going to be, and I think we might have said this on a previous podcast. That map was actually made by the Daily Mail, which is a newspaper in the UK. And if anyone's familiar with the Daily Mail, it's not really the most accurate in its reporting. It was a proposed road for a outer ring road, which has never been made in Delhi. So it was inaccurate, but it kind of gave us an idea that we're going to go on the ring roads. So they couldn't identify themselves where the ring road was. ਐਂਡ ਚਲੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਪਬਲਿਸ਼ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਮਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੈ ਗਿਆ ਵੀ ਚਲੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਾਣਾ ਦਿੱਲੀ ਵੱਲ ਜਾਣਾ ਤੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਰਿੰਗ ਰੋਡ ਤੇ ਜਾਣਾ ਐਂਡ ਇਟ ਵਾਸ ਕੁਆਇਟ ਯੂਨੀਫਾਈਡ kind of message by the union leaders and their media outlets. Media outlets, I don't know if Troy Times is an official outlet or not, but they were parroting the same thing, saying that we're going to go on the ring road. And through the Kisan Ekta Morcha channel as well, they said, "Bhi apa jana hai, ring road te jana hai." And if the government don't give us permission or the police don't give us permission to go on the ring road, we're going to break barriers to go on there. And everybody's seen that. Everybody's seen it, and it never came from anyone else. It was no third party. It wasn't the youth. It wasn't the government. It was the union leaders who made that declaration. Aapa ring road te jana hai. ਭਾਵੇਂ ਜੋ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਵੇ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੈਗੋਸ਼ੀਏਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਵੇ ਇਨ ਦ ਨੈਗੋਸ਼ੀਏਸ਼ਨਸ ਸੋ ਇਟ ਵਾਸ ਸੈਟ ਇਨ ਮਾਈਂਡ ਦੇ ਸੈਡ ਵੀ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਆ ਜਾਓ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਐਂਡ ਲੋਡਸ ਆਫ ਪੀਪਲ ਕੇਮ ਸ਼ਿਟ ਲੋਡਸ ਆਫ ਪੀਪਲ ਕੇਮ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਗਿਣਤੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਏ ਲੋਕੀ ਸਾਰੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਕਹਿ ਲਓ everybody saw how enthusiastic everybody was for this day because there's something tangible ਹੈ ਨਾ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਕੁਛ ਕਰਨਾ ਆ ਕਰਕੇ ਦਿਖਾਉਣਾ ਆ and make a statement and the timing of it for Republic Day it was quite big, man. It's a big thing. We're gonna make news. We're gonna ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ foundations ਖੜਕਾਉਣੇ ਆ of this government with a statement and people came fortifying their tractors because they're expecting to break barricades you saw them make modifications to the tractors and put reinforce them and everything so they all came prepared for what they ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਮਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਪਾਇਆ where did that come from? It came from the union leaders. So I don't know if there's anything else to discuss. So I was going to go up to the 25th, the day before.
I was going to also say, do you remember the day when the maps were leaked? There was 4 different versions.
Which day was that? That's the next thing, really. That before the 25th.
That was the weekend before. So 24th. 24th, 22nd, around that time, between that time.
The Trolley Times map was 17th on Instagram, I just seen.
Yeah, but there's 4 versions leaked on it. Remember we were talking about it, we're like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, so there was
that was 22nd, sorry.
So I was there first on Lakka's.
Lakka shared it.
Facebook. And people were sending it in and saying, look what's happening, and I said, where's this from? Because it's obviously when we saw that map, I think it was the one from Singhu border. The proposed route was nothing like the ring road. It was going within not even the suburbs, but just outside of Delhi. Most of it was going to be in the Ketanavich, from what it looked like. So I personally didn't post that up straight away because I thought this doesn't go with what we've been told, by the official outlets. And then it became apparent they actually made a statement. They came out with obviously that map was from them. That map actually wasn't from them. What it was, somebody made it on Google Maps. It was based on an interview of one of the union leaders. What he said on the Kisan Ekta Morcha channel, and his name, I don't know his name. One of you guys might know his name.
I don't recall.
What's his name? Do you know?
No, I don't remember, man.
So is a Monna Sega, but I can't remember. He's not that prominent as in they always back then they used to, they might still do it now, but they used to circulate between the farm leaders for their press conferences and everything, and I think he was the guy who's one of the main guys negotiating with the police because he was familiar with Delhi, and a lot of these farm leaders, they're actually not from Delhi, and so he was one of the guys negotiating with them. So I did the same thing. There was, I think, 2 routes that were published. One was the one from Singhu border and one from Tikri, saying that we're going to do 2 or 3 routes. We're not going to do one on Ring Road. And obviously that was a big kind of shock to everyone. I think that was probably the first time we heard that be appa karna nahi, be Ring Road ta nahi aana, be assi bahar jana hai na. And I personally, somebody else must have done this himself. I personally went to Google Maps and put it point by point because in there he said it in detail. Appa itho shuru karna hai. We're going to have 3 routes. Main one, Singhu to shuru hona hai. He's going to loop back to Singhu. One from Tikri. He's going to loop back to Tikri. And one from Ghazipur. he's going to loop back to Ghazipur, and he's very, very precise on where we're going to turn from here, left, right, there, no? And that's when the Google Map mock-ups came from that interview. So I don't know if one of you guys want to pick it up from there, but basically that is when we realized that we're not going on the ring road, or something's happened, you know? And within that interview, there was a lot of backtracking. Yeah, so Yudhvir Singh, he did a video on the 23rd of January on the Kisan Ekta Morcha Facebook explaining the route that they're going to take for the rally. And I remember saying to a couple of people on that day that this is the first major up that they've done, first time that they've messed up. And because it wasn't the fact that that they deviated from the plan or what they told us. What this guy Yodhvir Singh said was, we were negotiating with the police. We were negotiating a route for the police, and we got the route that we wanted. And he mentioned the youth, or anybody who actually wanted to go on the ring road, or the youth who want to go on the ring road. You know, there's no need to be upset about it. They're mistaken. This is kind of paraphrasing what he said. He said that they were mistaken in thinking that we're going to go on the ring road, which I thought was like absurd, because it's obviously it came koi apna man bana ke nahi aaya iska be in we're going to go on the ring road. Is because of the direction of the union leaders that everybody wanted to go on the ring road. So he's kind of backtracking on their position, saying in a negotiation you take 2 steps forward and 2 steps back, and we're doing a route which is a lot longer. So he's kind of trying to justify why they're doing this route instead of the ring road. And it's pretty apparent to myself that they've kind of messed things up, and they haven't actually taken ownership of it. For whatever reason, why they didn't get the ring road, we can only speculate. I'm not sure what happened. I think Chadoni explained it a bit better in a later interview, saying, "Hanji asi kya siga, bi asi elan kita siga par ring road te jana hai, par is karan aap sade ko nahi ja hoya." So he's trying to explain that, yeah, we actually said it. We can't say that we never said we're going to go on the ring road. He said we said it, we made that statement, so we've got to kind of own it. But he justified it, saying that we never expected the amount of people to come that ended up coming, and for that amount of people to fit on the ring road would have been impossible. And it's something he said that the police were emphasizing to them, saying the amount of people that are coming are more than that union leaders actually can comprehend. So who knows if that was a scare tactic by the police or whatever, saying be ring road to see na. We don't know about that. But what these guys said was, we got the route that we want, and it's a fantastic route, and it's like hundreds of kilometers, and it's going to go through it's going to go through Delhi. And I saw quite a few people justifying and looking at the map, saying, look, it's within the boundary of Delhi. So if any of you guys in the UK are listening to this, if you're familiar with London and the M25, and if we say anything within the M25 is London, and you do a Gary through Slough or Hounslow or Ilford, that's kind of what happened with this route. It's kind of, they proposed going on the outer ring road, the North Circular Road, and ended up going just in the suburbs. But I'd say it's probably even worse than that, because most of the route, when I was plotting it on Google Maps, it was pretty evident that most of it was actually within the countryside. It wasn't in any built up area. So people, quite rightfully started asking questions. What's going on? You said ring road, and you've kind of backed away. And the reason why I thought it was a cock up by these guys, up until now they've had the support of a lot of people in the way they've conducted generally. There's like a few instances where you can say that they haven't handled something well, but overall in the negotiations or the handling with the government, they've stood firm, and they've said be asi aha karna hai and nothing less. We just want, they've not bowed down to the government or the police's suggestions. So they've negotiated on their terms, and this was the first time that they've said, look, when we were negotiating with them, and it's 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, and we found like a middle ground which we're happy with. And that's not why people, I personally think, were on board with his leadership. They leaded with strength, and people were behind them. And this was the first time, and I don't know if they realized at that point how significant this would have been, because it led to a lot of the I personally think it led to a lot of the division afterwards between themselves and the youth, because just from this point, this is probably one of the most significant times that they said, oh, the youth or the people who want to go on the ring road, they misinformed. Like they put it's just the terminology that was kind of bad. Go on.
What happened was, from my perspective, so just going back to the question, the events leading up to the 26th. So I'm going to talk from a different angle to just the union leader side. Well, it will also be that, but it got announced, the ring road. So the tractor rally got announced. Then the rumours became factual about ring road. The union leaders started to talk about Ring Road. On the stage, people were talking about Ring Road Rally Republic Day. Lal Qila was mentioned. We can't deny it. The union leaders did talk about it in their speeches, off-the-cut speeches as well. And then the 12th rally had the smaller rally happened on the 12th. And that route was, in a way, a lot more effective than the route that actually eventually got given on the 26th. I think there was about 10,000 tractors, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe a little bit more, but it was a lot of tractors, and that rally happened really successfully, peacefully, and it was quite a good photo opportunity as well, because a lot of people got it got some presents out in India that this happened. About the Morcha. And then coming from the 12th leading up to the 26th, we started to hear more and more the union leaders were a lot more confident that doing this Republic Day rally is going to be big pressure on the government. So from their perspective, they started to talk about it a lot more. They were having their meetings. I believe they had a meeting on the I've forgotten the dates now. I think it was the 7th. Then they had one on the 17th or someday, and then they had the 22nd, which was the last one. And after the 22nd, they did they were still negotiating with the police, and they did the negotiations. So Safran's just explained out on the negotiations how the union leaders effectively messed up. So one thing that happened was that the Nuni story came out about taking money from the politicians and allowing politicians to come to a rally. From the journalist, and the so-called suspension. He got taken out of the leadership at a crucial time just before the 26th, in a way. I think he got reinstated on the 24th, the day the route was, the day after the route was announced. So that happened, and then that led on to people like Lal had shared those Google Map stuff. A lot of people started to share the Google Map stuff, and we're thinking, what the hell is this? You've told us Ring Road all the way through. We've been working up towards the Ring Road, and all of a sudden you've given us a route that isn't anywhere close to Delhi. And they didn't explain. So this is the problem that happened. One is explaining why they only managed to get that route, and explaining the reasoning why it's a good route. So I don't believe any one of them actually explained. All they said was, we never told Ring Road. This is the way negotiations work. You take 2 steps back, 2 steps forward. So not explaining their actions was really, I guess you'll be irritated by anyone, but it was taken badly by a lot of the people, a lot of the Sangat around that had come, because they had been told Ring Road 26. Some people were even saying, forget doing 26, let's go on the 24th. I remember on the stage there was Navdeep saying, the water cannon guy, and he went on stage and said, we should prepare for going on the 24th because it will take us a long time to take out these barriers. And just hold that thought in your head as well when we start discussing the 26th. Navdeep Singh said it'll take us 2 days to get through all these barriers to get into Delhi for the 26th. If you look at the 26th of November, barriers wise, getting into Delhi, they started on the 25th to 24th in some cases. So they struggled their way to just get through to Delhi. So imagine getting into Delhi, how much they were expecting the resistance to be. The youth were pumped. Everyone was pumped up because they expected the resistance to be tenfold compared to the November 26th barriers that were put up. And those were really bad anyway. And then it led us on to the 25th. And do you want to discuss that out, Safran? And I'll chip in? Or
well, 25th, there's a lot of the youth were discontent and
Yeah.
and they basically were urging the union leaders to reconsider the routes, saying that let's go on the ring road. And from what I saw, there was no meetings between them, and the union leaders just carried on like they were going to go on. They were going to continue on their proposed route. There was a press conference, and that is the most pareshan that I've actually seen them. They looked very worried in there because the press, apne Punjab the press mostly that usually are there.
Yeah.
They were asking them questions. The youth are discontent about the route, and I think by that point, was it the Pandir and them lot? They had already announced saying that we're gonna go onto the ring road. Is that correct? Was it Pandir?
Yeah, didn't they get agreement with the police? Sorry, as well.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that
they had an agreement
they were having
to go on the ring road.
They were having their own negotiations and said we're negotiating with the police to go onto the ring road. That's correct. I'm sure they said that. Yeah.
Yeah. They said the police had given them permission. So that's a point it's never really struck me until just now on the podcast.
Yeah.
Were the police just playing games? On one side, they've given people ring road. The other side, the bigger side, they've just said to them nah.
Yeah, so they these the Sanjukta Kisan Morcha guys, they basically said you're gonna have to ask them those questions, it's got nothing to do with us, and we're gonna stick to our route, and we're gonna go at this particular time. So and they realized that there's a lot of discontent within the people who have arrived, and you can see it from the faces. They were worried. And
so if I jump in to ask you a question, just on that though, if you as a youth, like part of the Sangat, listen that one side, the other side of the union or unions, they've got permission to go on the ring road, and then you got this side that says we've never asked for a ring road, we got permission to go on our route.
Yeah. And
you've always been told ring road. Would it not cause you to be more disconnect?
Of course.
Content.
Yeah. Well, it's not just. I think discontent turned into a bit of anger. We saw like for how many days, 2-3 days prior to that, how they were bringing the tractors and trailers there, just to save fuel.
Yeah, on top of trolleys. And
just
stuff.
to save fuel and ingenuity that they were they had them all tied together so that only one tractor they had to fill up. So petrol prices, diesel have gone up in India. They badu de paise to hai nahi kisi ko just to pook on nothing.
Tractor rally.
Yeah, so people were pissed off, and
could that have been a tactic by the police?
It could be because they weren't getting anywhere. There's up until then there's a lot of unity, and what they don't want, they want the opposite. And what's the way to way for that to happen? Maybe they played these leaders. See, this is what we don't know. What happened in those negotiations and how they ended up at the route that they got. And it's I don't know when that will come out, or if it will come out at some point, what actually happened, because we know that there is a bit of a divide between these union leaders, which became apparent after the 26th. At that point, we weren't as sure what the divisions were. Anji?
Definitely. Just on the 25th, then that anger did turn out where the youth took over the stage.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get into too much of the political or angles of that. I think we mentioned slightly in the second podcast. There were some student unions from unis that took over it first, and then Adoke was being mentioned. He came on the stage to do speech. They got Deep Sidhu on, so he was one of the guys that was banned effectively from speaking on the stage because he was always questioning the leaders and the union leaders, keeping pressure on them in certain different ways. And he got onto the stage. He did also a speech, and this, bearing in mind, this is in the evening time of the 25th. Bandir and Punnu on the other side of the stage have already done their elan of they're going on Ring Road.
Yep.
And then Lakha, so if we add all the convos and from the interviews, Lakha gets a phone call from, I think it's Rajwal.
That's correct.
or one of the union leaders.
said it was
I'm
Raj.
pretty sure it was Rajawal,
Yep.
and he says go sort out the youth and calm them down.
Yep.
We don't want it to get out of hand or whatever he would have said to him. And Lakaj comes into the Sangat and then gets onto the stage.
Yep.
He does a speech where essentially he talks about Ekta, which he always does.
Yep.
And then he talks about calming down. Don't make a mistake tomorrow.
Yep.
It's the one day not to make a mistake. And then he states, also whilst he's stating that, he states, if the other guys are going on Ring Road, we'll follow, our tractors will follow.
Yeah.
So why are you so upset about that?
I think when he said that, I think that was in response to, because they kept on pushing him, saying "Bhi appa ring road te jana." And from my interpretation of when he said that was, look, BJ bakiyan ne jana te fir ta apon de piche hi la lende na. And I think that was in response to a lot of them just saying that, being persistent that "Bhi appa ring road te jana." And he was very you're gone.
Go for it.
He was
Go for it.
his message has always been consistent. We're gonna not do violence, or we're gonna stay unified and keep control of this morcha, because we gotta look at the bigger picture in mind. So he did that speech off the stage to quell the youth, and then straight away afterwards he jumped on live on his Facebook. And he did the similar kind of speech again. And even him, I think that's probably the first time I've seen him. He was
stressed.
He was worried. He said it himself. I think he said it in the live. He said, "Look, I'm not. It's not scared or anything. I'm just worried about keeping this morcha intact, so it doesn't get kind of out of hand, and we stay unified." Because it was a tense situation, the youth had taken off.
Very tense.
They had taken over the main stage, and I think just that happening was a culmination of a lot of things, or a built up anger, or pressure, and I think it showed that there was a barrier between their voice being heard, and that's what they were mainly calling for. They were asking for the union leaders to come there and listen to them. That's what was bar he came. This be said gal sunno na, we're here, we're waiting for you guys, and we want to go on the ring road. And they didn't come.
The interesting point though, just on the Lakka thing, before the union leaders, he was the first one to publish the maps and saying this is wrong.
Yeah.
Like, that's effectively, I'm translating it out, but he was the first guy, if I remember, to publish it and say, what is this?
Yeah.
And I think he was mature enough to realize why for the 26 certain things had to be just sucked up, I guess.
Yeah.
Whilst the youth, they've got Josh, they lost their horse as well. In anger about...
Let me just say something. So Lakka did a live video on the maps.
Okay.
He said, look, trust the leaders. Let's not jump to conclusions. When the maps came out on that Sunday.
Okay.
And he was saying, look, it's early days, but with the youth demand Ring Road, let's hope the Kisan union leaders deliver.
Yeah, well, that's very...
I actually must have skipped that.
That's very much something that Lakka would say, And don't forget, I think he's more clued on than the wider youth. He probably knows what negotiations are going on to a certain degree, and what the pressures are. No doubtly, the pressures have been on the leaders from a lot of angles, and just the fact that so many people came for the 26th, that would have been added pressure on them. It was evident on that press conference on the 25th how pressured they were. So yeah.
And then we'll wrap up the events before the next section.
Another one on the 25th, Adoke announced the youth committee as well.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out who actually announced it. It had
it was Adoke.
They had his name on there, Deep's.
It had Adoke in there, Lakka, Deep Sidhu, Beer Singh,
and Baba Raja.
Danhang Singh.
Yeah,
Baba Raja Raj Singh.
Yeah. So he, Apna Lakka announced pretty soon after that, didn't he? Saying that I'm not part of any committee. That's false.
Yeah, in the live he said, innit?
Yeah.
Now I want to take you guys on to the events of the day, 26. So that's happened overnight. Very tense situation. We all slept quite tense as well because we were trying to figure out what the hell's happened.
Well, I didn't go to sleep.
And then,
I personally didn't go to sleep that night. I
Tu to kabhi nahi sonda.
Yeah.
Night owl.
Yeah, but that is a very important day. You could feel the tense, situation within us abroad as well. And ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਚੋਂ ਪਾਠ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲੇ, I'm sure ਪਾਠ was going overdrive at that point as well, hoping that everything goes well for the following morning.
Yeah.
So it was tense, man. It was tense. It's just the unknown, uncertainty of what's going to happen, and it's going to be it's a very big day. It's a very big day, and you're just hoping and praying that everything goes well.
And then the morning came, so the events of the 26th, the morning. I remember waking up, I think it was around 7 a.m. India time, and tractors had already got overnight. They started to line the tractors up.
Yeah.
And Bandera's side had got the tractors in front of these guys. So the police had got them to line up in front of them. So it's another interesting tactic. So I'm just want to highlight these points out when people are listening through. And then the other rally was meant to start at 10 a.m. These guys start their rally at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
And if you look through it, everyone starts going at 8 a.m. and the union leaders are whether it's this organization or just Punjabi organization, there wasn't much. It wasn't an organized viewpoint in the sense, are you meant to go at 8 like the other guys are about to go, or do you follow and stay put for 10? And all the youth just wanted to go on ring road, so they followed them all the way on the route until it got to a particular, I forgot the corner. Do you guys remember what the corner was where the union leaders were meant to turn right? And instead of turning right, the police had effectively just lifted out. They had like one little small ass barrier towards the ring road.
I think it's called Sanjay Gandhi Transport Nagar or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's that actually. That recalls.
That's the one. That is the one from if you're coming from Singhu border towards the ring road to Delhi. So that would have been the one for there.
Yeah, and essentially, if I remember correctly, so remember I stated about Navdeep Singh saying we should be going towards Delhi on the 24th of January because the barriers will be fortified. It will be so secure, Delhi, that we'll have to battle our way to get into it. We will have to fight for our rights to get into Delhi. Because remember the Indian nationals, just everyone, I want to remind them, you're allowed to go to your own capital as if you're it's like me going to London, central London. I'm a UK national, I should be allowed to just visit. These guys are being getting blocked, stopped, everything like the Indian government can do, they've been doing that. So Navdeep Singh was calling for the 24th of January, let's start marching towards Delhi, because he thought it would be fortified like everyone else thought it would have been. On the day of the 26th, it turns out there was no fortification. It was basically one steel barrier, and that's about it. So all the tractors that had all these... So before the 26th, I think someone did touch up on it. For the 26th, they started to build these tank-like tractors, thinking, we need to take down all these barriers, we need to take down walls and all sorts. I think they brought cranes as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
They took over a crane as well, if I remember.
That's correct, yeah.
There was a guy from Haryana with a crore rupee tractor was already on the march.
Yeah,
like...
So basically, there wasn't anything like what you'd expect, fortification-wise, barricades or anything on the ring road.
Yeah, nothing.
And it wasn't too much of an issue. And we all saw the iconic images of the Nihang Singhs. They were on the forefront, going through those blockades, barriers.
And we also saw the police were standing on the other side of the road. So where they should have been, if you're going to look at from a police angle, they should have been standing on the left-hand side because that's the way the traffic flows. Well, these guys were coming on the left-hand side towards Delhi.
Well,
they were all standing on the right side.
I'd say, like, from my personal point of view, I had no idea what is the right side and what is the wrong side. And the people who were marching there as well, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't know either. There'd be and those kind of statements came out later. We didn't know which way we were supposed to turn or wherever,
No, the reason I state this is they didn't know which way to turn, but the police were standing on the way they were meant to turn, and they were standing in huge numbers.
Yeah.
So they were directing them towards Ring Road.
Yeah.
They were, but then they started panicking. You know, when there's more and more protesters coming.
Yeah.
I think they started putting the barriers up and started using tear gas.
See, my viewpoint on the police on that day is...
I think they tried to call violence. I think they were given orders to cause violence.
So I'm not sure. See, I've got a conflicting view on this. From what I saw, the police really went up for a fight. And I saw that.
I don't think the police were,
Yeah.
but the CRF were up for a fight.
So, oh, menu pata nahi.
I
can't.
don't think, man.
From when I saw.
Think about it. 100,000 tractors coming towards you with this many people. I don't think you'll be up for a fight, man.
Yeah, but then the Navrit got shot as well, right? That was an accident.
Yeah,
That's different. We need to get to that stage.
So apart.
We're just talking about entering Ring Road.
Yeah. So before that, especially on the.
I think no. Yeah. The other thing we need to look at is the police force around Delhi different.
Oh, menu pata nahi. I'm not sure. So
because we're not in the city yet, right?
No, this is within the border. This is within the border of Delhi. So as soon as you leave the borders, and you set off from Singhu and Tikri and Ghazipur, you've entered Delhi, the city, you know. So this is like the justification they said with the map.
For the Delhi police here.
For the Delhi police here, but also they did have the right. So there was a distinction.
Right gear.
You can see the right gear, and that's probably, is that the RAF? It could be them. And they were firing tear gas. They were firing tear gas quite regularly. But they couldn't stop. They couldn't stop just the sheer numbers of people that were coming. And you saw them. They were just like, you know, we're not getting paid enough for this kind of shit. Let's get out of the way, you know. We don't want to get chopped up. They saw the Nahangs things coming.
I don't blame them.
Yeah, no. Look, the what you saw coming. These Nahang things they were just like slicing through them, like they not through the people, just through the barricades with ease, you know, and charging through, doing the Jakare. Look, if anybody saw that, you thought, forget this. These guys are like pumped and they're on a mission or for whatever, like, you know, and we're not getting paid for that. And a part of me, you know, we had this kind of tense, what's going to happen, and hopefully it's all okay. One of it is obviously because of the track record of India. We know how violent they can be in this kind of situation, and this is why I
saw it last year as well.
Yeah,
in the other riots.
Yeah. So the thing is, the police went up for a fight, but also they were very restrained. Very, very restrained, and it's very apparent to me. You know, they could have cracked down. They could have, if they really wanted to stop people, they could have. In the sense of, you know, be more forceful, have bigger barricades, or use live guns, which is not beyond them, no? Shooting live and dispersing crowds, but they weren't. And whether that's because that was pre-planned or because of the nature of it being Republic Day and that would cause too much media attention, I'm not sure. It could be a mixture of both. But that's what
I think the other thing we need to consider.
Yeah.
Sorry. The other thing we need to consider, because it's Republic Day, a lot of the police would be on the other side.
Yeah.
I don't think they were fully staffed.
But that wouldn't stop them. That wouldn't stop them bringing in army reinforcements or people from outside.
It will make them lazier not to do any work.
I'm pretty sure that everybody prior to this, all the Haryana police were given notices.
Redeployed.
Yeah, they weren't allowed to take any time off. Remember
they had to come back.
Yeah, so they gave all those notices came out. So police numbers wise, I'm sure everybody's drafted in. They had probably, you know, they could have brought police in from UP or from Haryana or wherever if they wanted to. I'm not sure about the logistics behind it, whether they're allowed to come into Delhi, but. You know, it's under the government's control. Don't forget, Delhi police.
I got a question for you boys.
Yeah.
Do you guys think it was pre-planned what the Delhi police did? Or do you think they were just lazy and couldn't be asked to do their jobs? It was a bit of both.
So, I think that's where we were coming to. So, on the single border stuff, on that Sanjay corner thing.
Nagar, yeah.
I think they were just scared, seeing the sheer amount of people. I do believe they were underplanned. And I do believe it was deliberate, though. Because if you think about it, look at how hard they made it just to get to Delhi. Why did they make it so easy to get into Delhi?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yes.
So that's why I kept reiterating that Navdeep Singh's comment of we should set off on the 24th.
Yeah.
Everyone expected the resistance to be 1,000 times more.
Yeah.
Turned out to be one little barrier.
Yeah.
So there's certainly something not right there. And once they got into Delhi Ring Road, they got into what was is it ITN? I forgot all the names now, man. Where the buses were.
ITO.
Where the
ITO.
Yeah.
So that's where all the main newspapers are, their head offices, and I believe the police offices there as well. And they got into the ITO, and the buses were lined up in front of them. And in the meantime, let's now talk about Ghazipur. Ghazipur guys had got. I remember sending. I think it was to you, Saffron and Rocky Singh. I remember sending a video of Ghazipur Lal Qila. Like I've found some random I got through one of the WhatsApp groups there at Lal Qila, and I was just confused. How did they get there so quick?
Yeah, that came out of the blue. I didn't even have Lal Qila in my mind, to be honest. They were at one point they were just getting onto the ring road, and then all of a sudden this video appears of a tractor in front of Lal Qila, and there's no there's no in between, where's the resistance from there to get into the Lal Qila. And it wasn't just Lal Qila, there was still the parade was still going on. The Republic Day parade, you could see the floats.
Yeah,
you could see the floats, and
was.
kind of these Kasans are gate crashing their rally. That is when I thought
they're outside dancing.
Yeah.
Lal Qila.
And I think I don't know if I saw a video or a photo first. I think I saw a photo still or something, and then I saw the video and I thought, oh my god, and there's a bit of excitement as well. Lal Qila pahunch gaye at the same time, not even thinking I think that was like afterwards, all the assessment, thinking how did we actually get there, no? And it's just the fact and the excitement of Lal Qila te pahunch gaye te hun ki hona na, and they weren't going to let us go onto the ring road, but they've actually got right into the center of Delhi. And while the Republic Day parade is still going on, and to me that was the main thing. For the press, that would have been picked up by the press, I know for sure, because one of the main things was, if they did their parade, the Kisan unions, don't forget, they actually, this is one point we never picked on the terminology. They were calling theirs a tractor parade, and a lot of people were not happy with that, saying we are, up until now we've been protesting and you're making it out to a parade. We're here to protest, we're not here to do parades per se, and so it's a kind of gate crashing what the government had set up and what they use as a big bump machine. They had planned Boris Johnson to come in for that day as the main dignitary, and Otte Besti Hogi because he backed out for whatever reason. But it was a big day, it's a big chest pumping kind of day for Modi and the government. And
last question, why did he back out?
Well, apparently it's due to COVID, because the COVID situation in the UK.
Do you believe it though?
Pardon?
Do you believe that it's COVID?
I don't know if I believe it or not. I'm happy that he didn't go ahead, because it's more basically for Modi. But
you know what Agora said to me?
Go on.
He said to me, lucky Boris didn't go, he would have got his pants pulled down.
Yeah. He would have been
Agora banter, right?
Yeah. So that's with that in mind, you could probably, forgive him for having second thoughts.
Sorry, he said he would have be caught with his pants pulled down.
Yeah, it would have been a tricky situation for him for sure. If he was there when that happened, it would have been amplified even more. And I think
then the fortification would have been there, no doubt.
Yeah. Because don't forget this.
So I think that helped the Kasans.
Yeah,
that he didn't go.
Yeah, he did. Go ahead. Go.
No, go for it.
No, I don't really have anything more regarding that. One place where I did see a bit of a because don't forget there's things happening at the same time. There's like three different routes rallies going on, and people from all sides were trying to get onto the ring road, and obviously when the news came out, Lal Qila pahunch gaya, I think in everybody's minds was appa bhi chaliye utte na. If it's true, is like, how do we get there? All the guys I was following, they were all heading towards Lal Qila. You get me? There was no one that I was following on the day, which was going on this pre-arranged route. And I found.
I'll be honest with you, bro. Yeah. I'll be honest with you both. I've not seen any videos of the other route except for some flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the flowers,
Jared,
and I think no one even made the videos of that.
Yeah, it's very hard to find them, to be honest, afterwards. And when they say that it was only a small percentage, I'm not so sure. We were getting messages from people who were there at Lal Qila saying there's thousands of people here. You know, there's thousands of tractors there, let alone thousands of people.
You can see in the pictures though.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a huge...
The most funniest thing was, I think the funniest thing was when you have the 7 Kisan Union leaders in a car on the way to the ring road.
No, on the ring road.
On the ring road, sorry. They were caught. 2 were suspended. Other 5 were not even announced who they were.
Yeah, see, I didn't know that happened on the day. I wasn't even following.
No wonder you-
I didn't know if that happened on the actual day. I only found out later.
But that shows you, you know, we were talking about the split. It shows you a split there.
Yeah, of course there's definitely a split.
And then there's another rumour.
Uh-huh.
Gurnaam Singh Chudunni was actually in Lal Qila. There's a video apparently. Obviously, I'm not going to upload it, but
I don't think that happened because it would have come out.
That's not true.
Yeah,
no. He went to get the kids out after.
No, that's not true, man. That's just.
But it's a rumor. That's what they're saying.
No, but you look who's doing the rumors. It's the guys that are being called Gardars and stuff. So you got to take it with a pinch of salt.
So going.
I want to take it back. So
Yeah.
to the
I wanted to do
ITN.
ITO.
ITN is it?
ITO. Yep.
Sorry, man. I keep thinking of the news channel ITN.
But Land of Kasan, we need to take a bit further back from that because I was going to allude to Ghazipur, the route from Ghazipur.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
That is where I saw quite a bit of resistance. There was a bridge over the highway where they were firing tear gas from, and there was for a while that seemed like a good hour, at least an hour, where the Kasans were trying to break through that barrier, and that is probably the most resistance I saw on the day. And there were a lot of police there because I saw there's a lot of going. That's where there's a video of a Buzurg who was just standing there, and about 4 or 5 cops came from behind and battered him, and he was just standing there. He wasn't even doing anything. And then straight after that, you saw Nahang Singhs coming out with the Kirpan, pushing the police back for that incident. And that one shot got amplified in Godi media. They went crazy with it, you know, talwara kaddiyan hui hain and the terrorist or whatever. Obviously, they're not going to show what happened before that. And then the Nahang Singh, he didn't even hit anyone. He just took it out, just push them back, which worked because the police legged it. They just legged it back, kind
Yeah.
And that small snapshot is what I saw around that day. The police were very cowardly in front of big numbers, but where they could single out 1 or 2 protesters, they went to town with them. And that's the time when they actually, you know, they let their frustration or whatever out, and they didn't really have that much of an opportunity. That's what makes me think that they weren't really up for the fight because of just the sheer amount of numbers. What could they actually do? Were they really up for the fight? Even if they were ordered by the government or the authorities to stop them or not, how would they have done it? I'm sure the police, they would have been told don't use any live ammunition, and without live ammunition, if they're going to use tear gas or lathi charge, that's not going to stop them. That's not going to stop these guys, and they knew it themselves. So so Ghazipur, there's another interesting thing happened where Rakesh Tiket was arguing with the police. Do you guys remember that? Have you seen that video where he's getting the lathia and smacking his own kids, youth, saying "Be idhar aa jo."
Youth,
So there's an altercation between him and the police inspector, the main guy there on the barrier, saying, "Why aren't you letting us go on our route?" And he's saying basically, you want us to go this way, don't you? And you're going to be zimmewar hona hai, what's going to happen to us? And the police are saying, no. And a few of the guys had gone through, and he got his lathi or soti out and smacking him on the arses, saying get back, which was quite funny. But at that moment, I wasn't actually sure what was going on either, because there was so much stuff happening at different locations. It was a bit hard to take stock of what's going on, you know, what's going on with the police or which route they're going on. And I don't know if you want to go on to the ITO from there.
On the Ghazipur one, I think where he was smacking them was a bit further into Delhi and very close to Lal Qila. If I remember, it was like 4 kilometers or so where they were going to bend from.
Okay. Well, that's interesting because the proposed route from Ghazipur wasn't actually even going to go into Delhi. it was gonna go kiss the border of Delhi and UP and go back on itself, and that was one of the three routes which actually wasn't gonna go into Delhi at all, the Delhi border. So if that's the case, then he's probably one of the union leaders who actually went further in as well off the route.
I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure it was a bit further in.
What's to note is that the Ghazipur side is very close to Lal Qila from the back, and the people that got to Lal Qila weren't actually the first people to get there. Were actually from Punjab. There were a lot of these UP guys or people from
UP, Haryana,
and also
it was all a UP.
and Uttarakhand.
Yeah, so that side, you'd suspect that they came from Ghazipur side, and also don't forget there's a sizable Sikh population within Delhi. So we're on about people coming from the borders, the protesters, but a lot of the people that came to Lal Qila were Delhi
internally.
Yeah, were Delhi residents.
Delhiites.
They came on the scooters or wherever, so they didn't have to break any barriers anyway to get there.
I think the other thing to remember, if you see the earlier videos of Lal Qila, there was a lot of Haryanvi boys there. Listening to Hindi music or Haryanvi music on the tractors.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure when that was.
They were dancing.
I saw that, but I'm not sure when that was, like how further advanced or what time scale that was on.
That was early morning.
That was really early morning because there was only hundreds in that video.
Acha.
There's not. They hadn't got into thousands yet.
Well, that's interesting.
So that was all the early tractors.
From what I can see, it was just a race. You know, like one of those wacky races. Like people are just trying to get to the
wacky tractors.
yeah. It was just like a race to get there. You know, as soon as who can get there first. And these are a lot of them with the youngsters. Obviously, they're pumped and they're gonna go. It's a day to remember, and
it's all about the state's reputation.
Of
it's
course.
Like not gangs, but like we're the youngsters of Punjab, we're the youngsters of Haryana, we're the youngsters of UP.
Yeah, man.
They wanted to get that little like top spot, saying UP youngsters took over Lal Qila first.
Look, I've said it many times to people after that. If I was there, I would be with them. I wouldn't want to be out on the ring road or in the Ketan, which come and having cha pani langar. Not to diminish, but it was more going to be like a Nagar Kirtan style. You know how we have the Nagar Kirtans and cha pani and one of those we get like a goodie bag and we remember the day. Look, people went there for that. They were for a revolution to make a statement. And myself, I would have been there. If I had the opportunity, I would have gone there and straight to Lal Qila. And none of these people, they're on about violence, kita, hinsa kita, whatever. What is the definition of violence? Violence kita. They pushed a bus with a tractor that was they moved some barriers.
The police helped them on that.
Oh yeah, that was the funny thing as well.
Police officers helping them.
There's two coppers there making sure that nobody's hurt in that incident, and they're saying behind Karlo, push Karlo, whatever, like, So this is what I'm on about. Like, by India standard, that is not violence. Not even by Gore standards or Western standards is that violence. There's no violence perpetrated on any people. Nobody attacked the cops there. Baach hoya, like on Red Fort, which we'll get to. What happened at the Lal Qila. This at that instance, there was no attacking of people. There's no properties burnt or damaged or किसी ने कोई तंगी नहीं सकी. जेडे दिल्ली वाले सके, you've seen the scenes of them doing Fullandi Swagat. When they came into Delhi, there was like a full set of this again. And people were very happy. They were cheering him on. They were cussing Modi. Don't forget a vast majority of people are on the Kisan side. Delhi is the BJP don't do that well in Delhi. It's controlled by Aam Aadmi Party. So a lot of these people, they've witnessed what happened this time last year with the CAA protests and RSS Nikki. People, that's fresh in the memory. And a lot of these people are gone.
Sorry to just cut you.
Yeah.
I've just seen a video that just got sent through.
I've just sent a video to you boys. So it shows a Kisan union leader of basically arguing with the cop to get onto the ring road.
Oh, is it?
No, not arguing. He's requesting the AECP Crime Delhi Dr. Ajit Kumar Sigla to allow them to go onto the outer ring road, and even pleading with him to put a pilot police vehicle in front of the tractor parade, and the guy's actually like negotiating, listening into him. It's just been released 3 hours ago on Tractors to Twitter.
So why would
We'll share the link in the podcast.
Why would Tractor post that?
It's new footage, unseen footage.
It's interesting now. I think there's a bit of a coup going on with SKM.
Did they know we were doing this podcast?
They probably don't.
Who knows?
It was said to be conveniently as well.
But that is an interesting fact that we'll come back onto.
Yeah.
We need to look into that guy, who he is. I don't know who he is. I've never seen him before.
Neither have I. So we're gonna have to see which kind of. I'm just looking at the police cop. He's got a cricket helmet on.
He's got a cricket, a cricket box you wear,
and
he's got it on his mouth.
The violence, the violence the farmers are doing in the video is throwing flowers.
Yeah, the full on this market. I saw that as well. Yeah. Chalo.
So
That's very interesting.
So we've talked about the Gazipur guys getting to Lal Qila, then those scenes going viral across every single account showing the Lal Qila Sansa got there. I'm sure it got into WhatsApps and stuff. So all these little kids that were, all the youth that were just talking about only Ring Road only, all of a sudden their minds are switched. Lal Qila, that's where we need to get to.
Yeah.
Any way, shape or form.
Yeah.
And then at ITO. They moved the ITO. They moved the bus with the police help, or the police are helping them to just make sure no one gets hurt whilst they're moving it.
Yep.
And they just allow them to go through. There was no resistance in the beginning bit, and this is around, I think we've got to about 11 a.m. now in the timeline.
Okay.
And then everyone's getting into Lal Qila. And then in the beginning parts, if I remember getting into Lal Qila, there's probably around 1,000 youth or 1,000 people that have got into the Lal Qila, the building.
Yeah.
The police are sitting on chairs, yeah? So the Kasans are in Lal Qila. Police are sitting on chairs on the side. And then the Nahang Singhs come with their horses and Nangara and the Nishan Sabs.
Very iconic. Very iconic images. I just got a butt in there. Like, it made you...
They were iconic. I shared all
they
the
were
pictures.
Beautiful.
Even now, thinking about it, it gives you shivers up your
chest
back.
goes up.
Yeah.
Carry
on.
You're like, it is what it is, man. I was loving it, to be honest. It hadn't hit me the afterthoughts yet.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, whoa, they've done it. They've done Lal Qila, taken over it.
See,
I didn't think about.
Yeah, I heard
how
be
easy it
pਹੁੰਚ
is,
ਗਿਆ
but-
Lal Qila ਨੂੰ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਗਿਆ, but I didn't even think. The next thing I saw was some images they're trying to actually get into the Lal Qila, and I thought, chalo,
Yeah, they were
okay.
doing knock door run.
Yeah.
They were doing knocking on the door.
Yeah, they're knocking on the door.
The police opened it for them.
The police opened
That's
the door.
the
for
door.
them.
There's
They
no
must have.
damage there. There's not like they knocked the gates down. You know how big that gate is? That gate is
Yeah.
like huge. Like, it's a Lal Qila, it's a fort, and the cops just let them in. And this is what I mean. Like, there's no. You'd think, the next thing would be the Lal Qila पहुंच गया ठीक है. But the next thing you heard was Lal Qila the which पहुंच गया. And there's like, okay, there's something missing there. If this is there's no commotion, there was no breaking in or wherever. And how did they get in that quickly? It's just like, it didn't really have time to think at that moment. Because that process be what's going on. All it was, they happened so fast.
Still no violence either.
No violence.
Because they're entering at this point.
Yep.
And then I see one of the Nahang Mahapur speaking to one of the police chiefs saying something. And then I see people start walking up the stairs. Yeah. And the police are coming down from the stairs of Lal Qila. And then the next scenes we see is there's so many people on the steps of Lal Qila and like outside.
Yeah.
Not outside as in like got to the roof of Lal Qila.
Yeah.
And then obviously we know what happened there.
What happened?
The youth. So they found a flagpole that was empty. I forgot the name of the person. So someone
was there empty. Yeah, I heard. I was watching Z News and they were saying there's Taranga on there.
So just with the news, remember on Republic Day, other than NDTV,
Yep.
every other news channel was only showing the Modi Republic Day.
Yep.
NDTV was showing both of them side by side,
Yep.
showing the tractor one and the other one.
Tiga.
Then all of a sudden, around 11ish, the other news channels switched up and started to say Lal Qila. They've got to Lal Qila. I'm pretty sure they were saying, how has this happened? But it quickly turned into they've desiccated the Tiranga. They're trying to put their flag in.
Yeah.
So it was empty, but the way they were shooting it, they were shooting only that flagpole, and it looked like that was the main flagpole.
Yep.
Lal Qila. And we'll come on to the constitutional laws and stuff on it.
Also, I think at that time, Godi media thought, they've got a narrative.
Yeah.
So started using it. But I think the problem is when it went on Godi media, more and more youth turned up.
Yeah, everyone saw it.
I think if you look after lunchtime, right, you got Bapus turning up, you got people of a father's age turning up, you got youngsters turning up, you got kids turning up.
Yep.
Locals are turning up. So it became from a few hundred youth, came most of Delhi there.
And the mood was very celebratory, you know. It was a job.
Yeah, it was celebratory. They were all taking selfies.
It was a good mood. There was no like, you know, everybody was.
There was no fighting.
No
nothing.
fighting. It was like very positive kind of mood, and everything was like, you know,
we were proper pumped, man. Just looking at the content.
Yeah,
thinking how successful it's going.
Yeah. I remember posting. I think I posted it, and I got a few messages just to that iconic image of you see the Baghail Singh one of the Khalsa army at Lal Qila, and then people started posting off side by side images of history repeating itself. And you're getting messages from everywhere. People were trying to phone as well, saying, you know, what's going on, what is going on, you know. And I was declining all calls because it still is an ongoing event. And at this point, they hadn't even gone up the flagpole. And I don't know if you want to go into. You were leading on to that, Anna, that the flagpole was empty.
Yeah, flagpole was empty. So it's one of the side ones are lower. I think it's like 15 meters or so lower than the main flagpole at Lal Qila, where the Tiranga's at the moment. And essentially what happened was one of the Singhs, whoever it was, tried to go up to put the flag up, but he couldn't manage to do it.
Okay.
He slipped down or whatever.
Tiga.
And then Deep Sidhu reaches, and then from looking at footage now, I didn't know, I didn't see this footage, but he got told to go up, or like people dragged him up. He gets there and he ends up doing a live video.
Okay.
Looking all weird into the camera, but that's a side note.
Did you know that? Did you know of him being there at that moment, or did you find out afterwards?
I found out afterwards, if I'll be honest.
Same.
I don't follow him.
Yeah, I did not know he was there. I just saw there's no one identifiable. Like out of the leaders, it just seemed like Sangat that was there.
Yeah, even like the Nahangs I did sort of know of.
Mm-hmm.
I did see them, but yeah, I didn't see any leaders. I certainly didn't know Deep Sidhu was there.
Yeah,
and I didn't really care, if I'll be honest.
Okay.
But he did this selfie video.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just placing all the images in time slots.
Tiga. Okay.
But yeah, I did not see this on the day, or I didn't know until the afternoon.
Okay.
In UK time. So anyway, another guy who's apparently a renowned flagpole climber, he went to put the flags up. So he first got given a Nishan Sahib from the bottom, put that flag up. Then he came back, he got given a
Kisan Union flag.
Kisan Union flag.
Mm-hmm.
He put that up. And then he was getting past in one of the videos a Tiranga.
Okay.
He was about to put it up, and then the other guy, there's a guy at the bottom that pulls it away and says, actually, we'll put it on the other side. And this is where we see, so I didn't actually know there was about 3 other places they put flags up.
Yeah.
And we've seen they did put a Tiranga up on the other side.
Yeah, but that footage came out like days later. It wasn't even like minutes or hours.
Godi media used that, innit? They used the one where he's taking it out.
And the reason for that is straight away after we saw this, the Nishan Sahib going up on this flagpole, we started getting messages from people on the ground saying that the internet is being getting cut there. So somebody sent me a screenshot.
Yeah.
They received it by SMS text message saying, as per government instructions, internet services have been stopped in your area till further notice. And that was right about.
Oh yeah.
That was by the Lal
It was about
Qila.
When the
3-4
Nishan
o'clock.
Sahib went up.
Say that again.
Yeah, it was about 3-4 o'clock Delhi time.
Yeah.
That was 2:53 p.m. That message, because I've
Okay,
got the screenshot in front of me. That text message was received at 2:53 p.m. And at that time, I think the internet was still working because that person was able to send it to me. But that's when information from there stopped coming out. So you know when we say that we saw this, we saw the video of the Taranga on the other coming up. This is what happened, that they cut the internet so that they couldn't show anything else coming out from there for whatever reason, whether they had it planned or not, or we can speculate on that. But my personal take is that it was just pure basically for them, and that's why they didn't want they wanted to stop the images and everything coming out, because this is when, you know, this is the moment me personally I was waiting for. I was thinking this is now the media have to take note internationally, because Lal Qila te hoya and hoya Republic Day te, and in the manner the way it happened as well, like in defiance and peacefully and everything. So this is historic. That's what I meant by like this is a historic moment. So उन्होंने बंद कर दिता ते, and it went silent from there. Like the images went silent from Lal Qila. I don't remember seeing anything much more from there visually, photos or videos, until like a few days later.
Then next day or the day after.
And meanwhile, there was people still trying to get to the Lal Qila. There were people trying to get to the Lal Qila, and word had got out, be Lal Qila de vich chal gaya, like, na. And it was a sizable amount. And there was a video. Do you remember the Rocky single? Do you remember the video of? Because I remember seeing it. I remember seeing it on day live on the day. Where one of the union there was one of the Punjab media were asking one of the union leaders, saying, you know, what are you going to do now? Bir the Lal Qile te pahunch gaya, and there's Naujawan in there, and kind of questioning him, like what to do, like what should they do? Should they stay there or should they come out or whatnot? I'm pretty sure that was Pandir who. It
was Pandir, he basically said they should stay there.
So he said you should stay there, and we're talking to the authorities, and utte tusi bethe raho, like na be
yeah, appa utto hilna nahi, he said.
Say that again.
He said appa hilna nahi utto.
Yeah, appa hilna nahi. And I thought at that moment that is a really good move. I thought if they just sit there outside of Lal Qila and stay there, that would be a very strong position for the morcha, for the protest to take. And either that, as soon as they got on the ring road, I was thinking, okay, you know, you've got on the ring road, now ring road da kabja kar lo. You know, stay on the ring road and bring all the camps closer to Delhi, because the whole point about coming to Delhi was to tighten the grip over Modi, you know, and put pressure on him. And what can be more pressure than just camping outside Lal Qila? Like, you know, you can't bypass them, you know, as just bar bethe or in a pre-arranged ground. So
I also think, you know, if you go back to Panir's comment, I think that is probably the reason he got kicked out.
Yeah, but at that moment you don't know if he was there saying "Bhi chalo tusi te bethe raho, aapa aun lage ya," or you stay there, we're negotiating with the police or with the authorities, and we're coming to support you, or we're coming to get you. So there wasn't much more context to that clip after that.
And it's I was coming on to, you talked about 2:53.
Mm-hmm.
The internet was shut, so maybe they could get stuff out in those 10-20 minutes, but nothing was probably coming in, so they weren't seeing any of this, and they were probably getting agitated. What the hell's going on? Because the Yadav guy did do a statement around 12, like discrediting all the people that went to Lal Qila basically, and he's meant to be one of the union leaders that's in the media, and he just basically cut ties with all of them.
When did he say that statement?
Then, around 12 o'clock.
Yeah, about 12:30.
Okay.
maybe one.
I think another thing, a big thing we forgot, the Kisan Union leaders cancelled the tractor march
Yeah, so they cancelled it. We're not even sure. I'm not sure when they cancelled
around
it.
11 o'clock.
Okay. And what
Did they actually cancel?
They stopped it, yeah. They said it's over, it's cancelled, go back.
was the reasoning
Go
for
to the
that?
border.
Or do you know why?
Because it was a mishmatch. Everywhere in it.
Yeah.
Again, it's the Punjabi organization.
Yeah.
There's about 100 and something thousand tractors.
Yeah.
I think
Some was saying 200.
I think the problem is on both sides, yeah. They were just disorganized. But they should have looked at the feather and the chaos.
Yeah. See, when they cancelled that, they said initially it's going to take 2-3 days. For the amount of tractors they've got to go on the route, it's going to carry on 24 hours, and it's going to take two days to do. I've got a feeling, and they keep on reiterating it, that it's only like 10% or 5% that went to Lal Qila. And from the footage that we've seen and lack of footage we've seen on their route, I've got suspicion most people just said we're going to either the ring road or we're going to the Lal Qila. So in fact, they just had to abandon their route altogether. And they said like, let's go back to the borders. I saw that part, but I was quite suspicious. Why did they do that? Why didn't they just carry on? Why did they not just carry on doing their route? If they'd already separated and said we did it Lal Qila or whatever, and they could have stuck to the story, be saying, look, we're going and we're doing a route here. To me, it just seems like either things were so confusing that people just got confused by the routes, deliberately by the police or whatever, or these guys just lost a huge amount of their numbers, and they're gone further ahead.
I certainly think it was just a huge amount had just basically abandoned their routes, and they had either gone onto Ring Road or they had got to Lal Qila. Like even singers were on Ring Road.
Yeah.
Kanwal Garewala was on Ring Road, if I remember. Harf Chima was. There's loads of people on Ring Road. Lakha went missing. We haven't seen footage.
No one knows where Lakha was.
Yeah.
It's like a game. Where is Lakha?
Basically, after he did his live Facebook the night before in the tent, calming everyone down, I didn't hear from him or know where he was, which was interesting.
Probably got to put his alarm on.
Ran out of data.
Ki pata man, who knows? But yeah.
At the same time, that 253 is a bit quite significant if we take it back to ITO.
Okay.
Navreet got shot by the police.
Yeah.
And they say it was around 3 p.m.
Okay.
So if you start looking at time frames, could that be attributed back, the internet cut off be attributed back to
it could well be
the police made a mistake?
Yep.
They need to cut everything off so it don't
Get out
loads
the
of
news.
Kasans don't start coming.
Yeah.
And do you remember the police announced that it was an accident?
Yeah, they did. And
Yeah.
they leaked.
They said a tractor flipped.
Yeah.
They leaked that as well. We got that. Remember, we didn't know what it was.
We didn't know.
post it.
I think just Veer Muqsad, he was one of the first people that I saw saying that he was shot, and I wasn't sure either because I saw the tractor flip over and him lying by the tractor. So it was plausible at that moment that he did get into an accident. It seemed that way because at that point we had not seen the bullet entry and exit wounds, look like close-ups of his body, and the narrative then it kind of worked initially, by the Goody media saying, look, he hit the barriers and it flipped and he's doing a stunt or whatever, and but baad chi pata laga, like it came out very clearly that he was actually shot by the police prior to the tractor flipping.
Yeah, even our media, they're not our media, neutral media YouTubers. So Scoop Hoop were there on the Republic Day. They had released their footage of the morning stuff.
Yeah.
And they actually got to Navreet's ITO, and they were around Navreet in the crowd, questioning them, interviewing them, but they did not release that video.
Okay.
Even though they weren't doing any editing. They released that 2 or 3 days later.
Yeah.
Because even say that video got released there and then or a couple of hours later, a lot of Kasans would have actually been up in arms in the sense you've basically shot an innocent person.
Yeah.
And I do believe the internet connection, cutting it off was also down to that mistake that the police did, the Delhi police, of shooting someone.
It's very likely.
So
I think the court orders came out at 5 p.m. for shutting the internet.
Yeah.
Nah, it was before, man.
See, you know the people.
No, they shut it at 3, but the court orders came at 5.
Oh, they shut it before the court orders came.
Yeah, so they must have shut it because of the shooting, so
Yeah.
it doesn't spread.
Yeah.
That video.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but these are all suppression tactics. It's always known.
Yeah, on the court order it says from 12 p.m. that it's going to take effect. I'm just looking at the court order
Yeah, I
now.
thought it was 12.
It says in the NCT of Delhi from 12 to midnight on the 26th.
Yeah, I pretty
Yeah, but
sure.
what I was saying that they came at 5 p.m. So they backdated them, right?
What came out 5 p.m.?
The actual orders came out publicly.
No, I got the order. I remember posting the order at the same time as the text message. So oh, देखना पड़ना है.
So the text message is at 2:53.
Yeah. So I don't know if this post. I gotta check. I gotta go check back on when I did this post. But I posted 2 images at the same time. One was of the SMS at 2:53 p.m. and then the next slide was the court order. So वो देखना पड़ना है when that actually happened.
I say for part 1, I think we've got to a stage where the 26th are about to switch it slightly.
Uh-huh.
So up until now, it's been not violent.
Yeah,
They've
yeah,
got
yeah.
into Lal Qila.
Uh-huh.
They've managed to put Nishan Sahib, Kisan Union stuff.
Yeah.
And we've only really seen the Nishan Sahib footage everywhere because the internet got shut.
Yeah.
And then we hear about Navreet getting shot. And I think it's a good place to go pick it up for the next
this
one.
is part 1. I think the other thing to point out in an Al Jazeera article that we'll link, they also say a communist flag went up on Lal Qila.
Yeah.
That's after. But on that day, so if we just talk about that particular day, we only saw Nishan Sahib really and the Kisan Union flag.
Yeah.
We didn't see anything else. We didn't even know there was a Tiranga up there until some photos came out
Yeah.
later on in the day.
Yeah, that's
We
correct.
didn't see anything. And I'm on about the Tiranga, that's the official flag they normally have there. So someone had zoomed out and actually took the full picture.
Yeah.
Until the beginning, we were only seeing the Godi media videos. Call it a day there.
ठीक है.
Let's just say Fateh. Vaheguru
Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.
Fateh.